podcast with two guys in their 20s giving their perspective on the games that we love, the headlines of pop culture, and the media behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going, man? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. Got to eat a lot of good food. Made my first turkey.
Give us the update. How was it?
It was
What
good.
was the reception?
5
stars?
No, they thought my dad made it, so that's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So that little kudos there, little brownie points there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, we have a lot of topics to get into for this episode. There's obviously some NFL topics, college football as we're getting into the conference championship season, and some NBA ones, some album reviews in the second half. We're going to do a review of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. But to start off with the Eagles' home win against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers getting hurt in the second half. Philadelphia won 40-33, and Jalen Hurts ran for 157 yards, set a record for the Eagles, and also threw for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. The biggest news of this, obviously, in the second half was Rodgers injuring his ribs later in the game and Jordan Love filling in. But what were your thoughts on Philadelphia, having another impressive home win? It was close at certain points, but also just thoughts on the type of season, MVP caliber season Jalen Hurts is having.
They're finding ways to give Jalen Hurts the opportunity to make plays, whether it's creating running plays, giving him the lane to run, or calling design run plays. They're giving him the avenue to lead this football team. I think this is the first time in a long time since, the 1 year he play with Oklahoma, that he had full control of the offense. When he was with Alabama, he didn't have full control of the offense or that football team. Now they're trusting him more and more. This is, second year in. They're 10-1 when you trust a guy. He's finding ways to get his team into the position to win. He looked good, man, especially that long run, bro. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, I know.
To be honest with you, it was hard to watch. But what a quarterback he's turning into. For a couple seasons, it's all been about Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Allen, all these guys, but Jalen Hurts has not been in that conversation. Well, right. You should definitely put him in that conversation now. So he looked good, man. The offense looked good. Defense, obviously, you give up 33 points, you're not going to look as good, but their offense looked like they're ready for the postseason. And Jalen Hurts looked like he's ready to lead his team to a possible Super Bowl run. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, when you look at the MVP category, he's obviously having a spectacular season. Patrick Mahomes is having another great one. Who would you put in that MVP category, or maybe the top candidate to lead the MVP race right now?
Right now, I have to say Patrick Mahomes. Given what his wide receiver core looks like, and them still having struggles with that wide receiver core, and he's still putting up big numbers and find a way to get them open, throwing his receivers open, which is a veteran move. Veteran move, and he hasn't been in the league over 6 years. So that's just a testament to what he can do as a quarterback when he doesn't have the certain weapons. You look at Aaron Rodgers, when he doesn't have the weapons he has, it's kind of hard to throw people open or do certain things. So I think Patrick Mahomes is definitely front runner. He's still having a phenomenal season, stat-wise. But, the record, they'll get there. I think they're still in the running to go to, have a Super Bowl run. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, hands down, is the front runner for the MVP. Jalen Hurts is making some noise. I don't think he's there just yet.
He's not. He hasn't asserted himself in that position yet. I feel like it's still Mahomes to lose.
For sure, he's winning football games, but he's not he's not MVP contender right now, and I don't think that should be on his mind. I don't think it is, to be honest with you.
Right. I mean, his team's 10-1. I mean, just get the one seed. Yeah,
you can have that other stuff.
Exactly. But also looking at from Green Bay's perspective and with the injury Rodgers had, do you feel as though it's one of those points in the season where it might be just maybe time to let Jordan Love finish out the season, or do you think it's one of those things where Rodgers, obviously he wants to be he's a competitor, he doesn't want to give up anything, but how do you kind of feel about how they'll handle that situation with Rodgers going forward?
How much money they pay him? They need to let him finish out the season. Yeah. That's your investment. You're willing to sign him back and get that money. It's evident that you didn't have full confidence in Jordan Love. That's why you signed Aaron Rodgers back in hopes to keep Devontae Adams as well. But you got to let your investment play out. Offseason, look into what you're going to do with Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to truly commit to Jordan Love? there has to be something. There has to be a clear sign of what direction they're going to go into this offseason. If not, then the offense and the whole team is going to be a shambles. We're already plagued with injuries. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers goes down with a rib injury. Jordan Love didn't, look bad. 6 for 913 yards and I think a touchdown. But within that, one of the touchdowns was like a 60-yard run, 70-yard run. But I'm still not impressed with Jordan Love. So I think after this season, obviously Aaron Rodgers has, if he comes back, he has to complete the season because all the money we paid him, but also have to have a clear direction of where you want to go. Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers or are you going to have full confidence in Jordan Love?
Yeah, definitely. And now getting into kind of thoughts on the Chiefs' convincing win against the Rams and LA's struggles this year. The Kansas City won 26-10 at home, and Mahomes threw for 320 yards and a touchdown. But there were also mistakes made by them, including an interception by Mahomes in the fourth quarter. And on the other side for the Rams, playing without Matthew Stafford, they really struggled to move the chains behind Perkins. But what were your thoughts on another win for Kansas City? I mean, we mentioned the type of MVP season Mahomes is having. How do you kind of feel about how this team is looking, and also on the other side with the Rams? I mean, it's been countless injuries, just a completely different looking team compared to what they did last season.
What I love about the Kansas City Chiefs, first and foremost, this season, obviously, you have to mix it around. I think previous season when they had Tyreek and a bunch of other guys that were, role players in the wide receiving core, they got the ball, but we knew Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce was going to be, the bulk of the offense. And then now the running game is not working. They're having to mix it around. I think, like 8 or 9 people had over 3 receptions. So they're mixing it up. They're finding different ways to get people open, and people are stepping up. And that's what I love. They don't have the same offense they had a year ago, but they're still finding a way to win. 9-2 Patrick Mahomes is worth all that money they gave him, but the offense looks good because of Patrick Mahomes. The running game is not there. It's not helping Patrick Mahomes at all. So the play calling and then him extending plays and being in sync with these wide receivers is the best weapon he has this year. Even Travis Kelce sometimes is shaky in most quarters, but then he'll make up on it in the fourth quarter or the end of the third quarter. But hats off to Patrick Mahomes. And then the Rams, we talked about it several times, Wellington. These guys do not look like last year, obviously, because
we could tell from the first game against Buffalo, like this was not going to be the same type of season.
It was I don't want to say it was a string of luck. I think they had the right pieces on both sides of the ball. Matthew Stafford didn't have to do as much.
Everything played out for them perfectly. Everything just was lined up for them.
And Cooper Kupp was Cooper Kupping. You know what I'm talking about? Averaging like 130.
Trademark phrase from Full Scope.
Yo, man, I'm telling you. And he's not Cooper Kupping like he did last year. 180 yards here, 160 yards here, just killing. Now everybody is in sync. Okay, Cooper Kupp is a guy. They don't have a number 2 guy in my eyes. They don't. If I look at their rap, Van Jefferson, I love him. Florida guy, he's not a guy to get you, get you those yardage. And I don't think Cooper Kupp even played against the Chiefs. So yeah, man. And Cam Akers is not running, and it's just a lot of things are not happening on the offensive side. Defense, I think, is still strong, but at the end of the day, they're going to get worn out, and that's what they do. Have been the past 11 games. They've been getting worn out. Right. So if their offense don't turn around, I don't think they will this year. They have a lot of things to look at offseason. Do they re-sign Cam Akers? Do they shop around to get another backup quarterback for Matthew Stafford? There's a lot of or do they go and get a wide receiver in the draft? A couple wide receivers that are available in the draft that look good. I think Tashawn McVay. Do they get a veteran guy? Do they go back and get OBJ next season because he has a entire year to sit out and get healthy? So there's a lot, and they do really well with their offseason moving around the depth chart, getting guys in and out. And I think that's what there was a testament to how good they were last year because they got great guys and then they won a Super Bowl. But if they're not gonna get it right this year in the offseason, they're gonna have to move some pieces around to get the right guys back into the ball game or into the organization.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing, looking at yesterday, the Jacksonville, they had an upset win against Baltimore, and
Yeah.
Cincinnati was able to win against Tennessee, and now they're first place in the AFC North. Like, among the teams that you're seeing, I mean, probably between, obviously Cincinnati and Baltimore, like, which team do you kind of trust the most in the AFC North to possibly, finish the season out strong and get to the postseason?
That's interesting. None of them, to be honest with you.
Mm.
No, I'm joking.
That's what I was saying. It's like,
You
no,
gave
they're all
it.
out.
Nah, Baltimore. Yeah, obviously Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the AFC North. Yeah, they're in the AFC North.
Yeah,
Baltimore is,
AFC
right?
North. Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
Cincinnati's
yeah.
Cincinnati's first and Baltimore second right now.
Yeah, I think I have more trust in Baltimore. It's just that for what I've seen this year from Cincinnati, once again, it's extremely difficult to have prior success that you had the year
And repeat
prior,
that.
and repeat that success. They have looked so shaky, so shaky. Man, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens just because of I have faith in Lamar Jackson. I still think they need to pay him, and I think they're more equipped on the offensive defensive side more than Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they're number 2 right now, but I think that was it's 5 games they let slip through their fingertips, and they don't know how to close games sometimes. But
Mm.
I'm looking, it's game 11 where you have 6 more games. They play, 6 more games. They got to get that corrected, but I still have faith in the Baltimore Ravens for sure. Lamar Jackson, he got to get him a Super Bowl. He has
Has
to
to,
get him
man.
one.
Has to.
I
Yeah.
think it's coming.
Sooner than later. Sooner than, because he has the
Hopefully.
potential. Yeah, he definitely has potential to lead them on a run. And now getting into kind of thoughts on who had the most impressive Thanksgiving win among the Bills, Cowboys, and Vikings. The Bills obviously won a tight game against Detroit, 20-26. The Cowboys put away against the Giants at home, 20-20, and then the Vikings for the last game won 33-26 against New England. But what were your thoughts on these outcomes and kind of like to you who had the most impressive win among the three?
Gotta be the New York Giants. Sorry, Cowboys and
Yeah,
the New
yeah,
York
that was
Giants.
yeah,
What a win, man. Division rival.
yeah.
You needed to win this game to stay alive. New York Giants have looked really decently good this season. The quarterback situation is still. How do you draft a guy from Duke 1 year? He had 1 good year, and you draft him to be your starting quarterback. I don't understand it. I'm still not a Daniel Jones fan. Put it up 100 yards a game, passing yards a game. It's not what you
Not gonna
need.
cut it.
You're going to kill Saquon Barkley because Saquon is in every play. I know he's been out a couple of seasons, but dog, bro, I thought Christian McCaffrey had it at the Panthers. Saquon Barkley
It's
got
nothing
every
like that.
play, bro. It's insane. But what a win for New York Giants. You looking at
For
Dak
Dallas, yeah.
Prescott, I still think he's a top caliber quarterback, and it's hard for me to sit here and say he doesn't get rocky in situations, but they found out a way to win, and I think it was definitely Dak Prescott, him extending plays, and all these black quarterbacks we keep saying extending plays, but him extending plays. The play calling was really well this game.
Yeah.
The defense stepped up. Parsons, oh my gosh,
Goodness.
oh,
A
oh,
beast.
what when you need a defense win championships, defense stepped up at the right time when Michael Parsons sack, and then the offense put the cherry on top. The running game was working that game, but yeah, Dallas Cowboys winning on Thanksgiving when they needed the most to stay alive. Yeah, definitely more impressive because the Giants have looked decently good, but yeah, I think the Cowboys still alive, man. What Michael Irvin, he went off on this game, bro. This whole commentary was crazy, bro.
Yo, Michael Irvin, man. Like, talk about somebody who's not gonna hold anything back in any commentary.
No, not at all. Horse throat and all. Bro, chill, bro. Just
Chill out a little. You gotta talk to Stephen A. Monday morning as well. You gotta do Sunday countdown. You gotta do all these different things, and you got Stephen A. Monday morning, bro. You gotta chill out a little.
We got some tea in the back for you. for your scratchy throat because you go, bro.
Talking like
so
a bishop.
Wake
Bishop
up,
Irvin.
wake up, wake up.
But now getting into Michigan's dominant performance against Ohio State. Michigan won on the road 45-23. This is their consecutive win against them. J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards both had career performances. But what were your thoughts on the physical nature of Michigan's win? And this is the type of game you have to be able to be up for. They were the passing was so effective and really ended the game in emphatic fashion and left no doubt about who's the superior team.
Yo, bro, snapped the I think it was 8-game losing streak. Michigan has not had an answer for Ohio State. The one guy I thought that was going to have a crazy game was Corum, but he didn't have it. Another guy did. 219 yards on 22 attempts. Man, what I didn't expect for this game to go like that.
At all.
45-23 against Ohio State when Marvin Harrison Jr. was going off this game. He had a killer game.
Yeah, he did.
But I just thought Ohio State had a little more. Michigan State played perfect football. No big penalties. Was disciplined. They made the plays. Running game was working. When the running game is working for you, you can call
it opens
anything.
up so many things.
Yes. And when your wide receivers is catching everything, they play perfect football. They wanted it more first and foremost, and then they're in the position in the playoffs to win a national championship that they have not won in years.
Yeah, they got a shot. They
do.
Have a
I didn't know they had two beasts back there. I know Corum was definitely a beast. I didn't know Edwards. I think his name was Edwards. Mm-hmm. I didn't know he was that of a dog because all you see is Corum.
If you got two of them, that's dangerous, man.
And your wide receiver core is catching everything coming to him. Offensive line looks so good, opening holes up, protecting. And then the poise in the pocket, like everything was just working for Michigan. It was just Michigan's time. The offensive line.
Ohio State has the 11th ranked passing defense, and and I feel like it's one of those things where they were expecting the running game to kind of be the most dominant thing, but the passing was even equal, if not more, than what the running was. And I feel like that's something Ohio State's defense wasn't prepared for as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think with Ohio State breakdown, it was the offensive line didn't play really well. The defense definitely didn't play well. They don't have that standout defensive end like they usually, Chase Young, Bosa, Hutchinson. No, Hutchinson came from Michigan. Sorry. Oh, wow. Okay, there we go. But they don't have that standout guy. They don't have the front seven that they're used to having to create chaos when playing Michigan or any other team. So Michigan played perfect football. McCarthy played a heck of a game. His pocket presence was brilliant. He was accurate. Like it was a lot of things that went well for the Michigan Wolverines, and they snapped the biggest thing. They snapped the 8-game losing streak against Ohio State, their rival. Yeah. Good game, man. Yeah, awesome game.
And now getting into if Clemson or LSU kind of had the more surprising loss. Clemson lost at home 31-30, and this was South Carolina's second straight top 10 win. And Texas A&M's upset win versus LSU 38-23 essentially kind of ended LSU's college football playoff hopes for the SEC championship. But obviously, like between these two losses, like both teams had chances to kind of like still be in the hunt for the CFP. LSU obviously like right the week before Georgia, they needed to build up more momentum, but kind of had a flat performance. Like between the two, which one kind of surprised you more?
Both. I'm not gonna hold you, but both. First of all, Texas A&M has looked so sloppy this season. To be able to beat LSU when LSU is finally figured out their offense and their defense is playing highlight football. And to beat them 38-23, I was surprised. Like surprise part of like, whoa. Who's winning? Who won? Texas A&M. And they always beat teams in like the. But no, LSU really surprised me losing to Texas A&M. They just didn't. I think they really got complacent. I think they thought they
They
were just
did.
going to beat Texas A&M.
It was the mentality. It almost
Yeah.
looked as though they were just getting ready for that SEC championship. Like, hey, we'll coast by and just have a shot at to see what happens against Georgia. You can't, obviously, any week
No.
anything can happen.
No. And then the offense was the biggest, I think, for me. The offense has been their strength, and then the defense have aided in high moments. And this game, Daniels went 121 for 35, 189 yards. The running game wasn't there. Daniels had majority of the rushing yards, and the wide receivers, they're big time. They have two big time wide receivers non-existent. So it's just
Right.
the offense had lack of, push, no progression. The offensive line looked sluggish, like they were just ready for Georgia. Their whole mindset was for Georgia, and that's hard to do, especially when you're playing in the SEC. At any time, anybody can beat. You see South Carolina beat Tennessee, and then they beat Clemson. So it's
Spencer
any
Rattler,
time.
what a season he's had.
Yes,
What a season
man.
he had, man.
He finished, talking about finished strong. But this will surprise me. And then I wasn't as surprised for South Carolina because they're on that high. They still have momentum
The
of
momentum.
beating
Yeah.
Tennessee. And then coming to this game, and we talked about this several times, when Clemson starts really, really slow. They start really, really slow. But this game, they were 14 up. And then I was like, okay, when Clemson, this is reverse. Clemson starts slow, and then they kind of ease off in the Westcom. But now they started off fast, went up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and I think they had 9 points in the second quarter. And then here comes South Carolina, put them away. You started off really, really well, and then you didn't put them away. It was a surprise. It was still a good game, 31-30, but sheesh, put them away. Especially if you're up, 14 points in the first quarter and you got their ticket.
Absolutely. And now getting into USC's kind of chances at the college football playoff and also most intriguing conference championship. USC won 38-27 against Notre Dame at home, and Caleb Williams kind of polished his Heisman credentials with 232 yards passing and 4 total touchdowns. What were your takeaways from this game, and kind of USC really playing at a high level the right time of the season? Obviously, they have the Pac-12 championship game next week, but how do you kind of feel about how Caleb Williams has been looking, been looking very impressive, and them finishing off the regular season strong?
Yeah, no, I think I put USC in that category of they look impressive, but they still don't have it just yet, but now finishing strong against a good Notre Dame team. We always say about the strength of schedule, but I think them finishing strong, especially Williams, the running game was working. I think they know how to mix it up and figure out their strong points and get mismatches throughout the defense. So I'm still impressed. But do they have enough to win? Or, I think they'll eventually probably edge out somebody to get into the playoffs, but do they have enough to win it? I don't think so. I think once they meet teams like Georgia, even Ohio, even Michigan, teams like that, I don't think they have enough to go toe to toe with those teams. Just based off the strength of schedule, I think Michigan had a tough schedule this season. Obviously, Georgia has beat everybody in the SEC for the first time. Like, bro, that is insane. You beat every team in the SEC. Whoa,
man.
But I just don't think they're ready to be in the playoffs. Will they get into there? Is a high probability they'll get into the playoffs. Yeah, because somebody will get edged out, especially the SEC championship is coming up. Other
also TCU's playing. TCU has a shot. They're third. They're playing Kansas State. Mm-hmm. Like between TCU and USC, like which one do you feel as though TCU would win their game next week and USC possibly lose?
Oh, for sure. I think USC has a possibility to lose. I think TCU is going to solidify themselves they're like Washington. You know how Washington always gets to the playoffs, but then they figure out, is a different breed when it comes to SEC and possibly ACC teams. I think it's going to say they haven't really been good since LaDainian Tomlinson.
That's
like
true.
In my eyes, they haven't been like really, really good since him. So for them to be back at this point, I think it's a big win. But when they win, will they win it all? If they go against Georgia.
Yes, no. That's always the team. That's always the standard because Georgia's still the favorite. They just
Please.
still are.
Whoever faces Georgia first,
I'm sorry.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
so sorry.
They're repeating. Yeah. There's nobody beating Georgia.
Definitely. And like if in terms of the conference championship, like even looking at obviously LSU had a loss, but does the LSU Georgia one kind of like intrigue you the most in terms of like the top conference championship that might have like the most like exciting potential?
I think so because I think LSU upset a lot of good teams that we thought they were going to lose to, and obviously Georgia is Georgia. I will always want to see Georgia play because how they're playing lights out football, both sides of the ball, and special teams like they did last year. So they're repeating all the success that they had a year prior, which is extremely hard. So, and I'll continue to reiterate this so people will understand how hard it is to repeat success.
So tough.
There's a formula. Sometimes that formula doesn't work, so you have to create another formula. Right. They have this. Their formula is working right now. Nobody is beating that formula. They know how to recruit. Their recruiting is amazing at Georgia. So, and then I think LSU still has enough in their left in their tank to compete. I think with Texas A&M, they got complacent. They looked ahead, and it was like, oh, we're going to beat the crap out of Texas A&M. But Texas A&M is still an SEC. They're still a decent team.
Yes.
So I think they still have enough in their tank.
They'll get up. They'll get up for this game. They'll definitely.
They're gonna have to.
But you got to. They're gonna have to. And now transitioning to the NBA and kind of thoughts on the Sacramento Kings' success and them kind of being ahead of schedule. They're currently 10-8 and 6 in the West. They average 27.7 assists per game and led by Domantas Sabonis, averaging 6.2 plus an average 122.5 points in the last 10 games. And, their main struggle has been against Western Conference teams being 4-5 currently. But what has impressed you so far about the development of Sacramento and how well they're currently performing?
I like how they play team basketball. The fundamentals of team. And I think for those guys to be traded, right before the season and be able to play like that. And I mean, obviously, they're third in the West. I think the West is way stronger than the East, if I'm being frank. So in terms of be the top three in the West right now, I think what a win right now. But you have to figure out a way to keep in the top three and edge and try to go to the second mark. I think Phoenix throughout the regular season we're going to get, because Phoenix is one of the most fundamentalist teams out there. So it's going to be hard to kind of edge them out. Especially and take advantage of it now. When the Warriors pick their speed back up, you want to be in the top three because the Warriors are coming. They're coming. You want to, but we talked about this a couple, episodes back. I'm still like De'Aaron Fox. Oh wow, Wellington.
What's up?
I'm thinking we talk about the Utah Jazz. Wow. And I said these guys just got traded. I'm thinking about the Utah Jazz. You didn't pick up on that? But anyway, we're going to jump back into it because we talk about
Sacramento Kings.
Oh my gosh, you folly guy. But no, now my mind is going back to the Kings. Now me thinking about it, all I just said in the beginning, they need to continue to do, but they won't stay in the top three. I think at a certain point, they're going to eventually fade out. I was thinking with the Utah Jazz. I think Utah Jazz is going to come. Warriors is going to come. I think Denver is going to pick it back up and come for it. So they're in the top three now. I think they play 18, 19 games. So it's still fairly young.
Yeah.
So, and I think at a certain point, Harrison Barnes is going to fade. De'Aaron Fox is not going to be able to pick everything up by himself. He's been doing it for the past 3 years. Everybody who goes to the Sacramento Kings just drains.
Really heavy load. Yeah.
It drains. And I don't think their bench is strong enough to hold that third spot, to be completely honest with you. So now that my mind is fixed on the Sacramento Kings, they won't stay there long, to be honest with you.
Because the West is so top heavy. I mean, like Denver, I still think Denver is possibly has one of the best chances to go far this year, especially if Michael Porter Jr. can kind of take that next step. And obviously Jamal Murray and Jokic, they've been playing really well, but it's an extremely top heavy Western Conference. But now getting into Shai-Gilgeous Alexander's elite level of play for OKC early in the season, even though the Thunder are not high in the West standings, SGA is currently averaging 31 points, 4.0 rebounds, and 5 assists. The only players to finish the season accomplishing all of those stats are Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, and James Harden. He's also scored 30 or more in 4 straight games. But what are your thoughts on the development of SGA's game and kind of what he can do better to elevate OKC to more wins?
He's going to need more than himself. And I think the guy that got hurt, I think we were talking about the same. Yeah, the Chet Holmgren. I think is Chet Holmgren. I think if he, gosh, man, but I like that he played in that game. I just hate that he got hurt. I think if he would have been playing now, I believe they would be higher than what they are. I think he's in a great spot. I think he's progressing the way he should progress. I think he's playing good. He can create his own shot. Let me go down through the list. Create his own shot. He's a facilitator. He can finish at the rim, and he can play decently good defense at a point guard. And I think I love point guards who are all around. And that's why I love Colin Sexton. That's why I thought we were talking about the Utah Jazz, because I was about to say, I'm a big fan of Colin. Big fan of Colin. So I think he's doing it's not what he can do to elevate his team more. I think if they had Chet, I think they would be in the top 6 right now. Because Chet's game, bro,
further accelerated this season.
Because that 1-2 punch, I think that pick and roll right there. Oh man,
that's all he's missing. That's all SGA is missing. He's missing that big who can actually flourish in that spot, and that's what he doesn't have.
And that way, now we got the 3 and the 2 knocking down shots because they're gonna collapse on Chet and Shai. And then now, okay, let's dish it out. Now we got guys knocking. That's the simplest, simplistic offense there. We're gonna do 1-2, and then if y'all collapse on it, we're gonna kick it out. Boom. The guys got to hit the shots. So I think that's the element they're missing. A lot of PGs. We look at how James Harden was so effective. Him and Clint Capella. They had it down packed for a couple years, and then obviously step back.
His main target.
Yeah. So I think if he had that element, I think because he's in a good spot, like he checks boxes, but one man can't win the game. It's a collective. You need that bench, and you need that power forward or that center to collapse the defense. Yeah, and I think they're missing that element.
Definitely. And now getting into our first album review with 38 Special's Beyond Belief. In his latest EP, it comes with production from Harry Fraud that kind of had a predominant boom bap sound, and the features all bring kind of their unique styles to the table excellently with Spesh, ensuring that people don't sleep on him lyrically. But what were some of your takeaways from this project and kind of the overall feel of it?
I thought this was really dope.
Yeah.
I thought the features, I've never heard the Harry Fraud guy. But I think this was really interesting because he had Currency on there. Currency is so like laid back. And he had Wiz Khalifa on it, and then what surprised me was Jim Jones. I was like, why?
That feature I did not see coming at all. That's the one that just was out of left field.
Yeah, no, for real. Because when I opened it up, and I didn't even look at it, I just pressed play, and then when I got it's number 6 Target Practice, I was like, that sounds like Jim Jones.
It is Jim.
What rock did you have to go under to get Jim Jones to make a verse again? Man. But no, I thought it was dope, bro. I think very, very lyrical. I think the boom, I like boom bap. I think the production was really good. I thought it was a nice flow. I think it intertwined with each track. I think the features was strong enough. Listenability. I think if you wasn't a fan of boom bap or just like authentically hip hop, I don't think this would be like an album. Or did he call it? Was it an album?
I think he called this an EP.
EP, yeah.
Called this an EP.
Ooh, we should 10 songs an EP. Okay.
I was like, because when I looked at that, I was like, that's a different version of an EP. Because for us, we used to like 5-6 songs for an EP. Like, we just
8
run
is
through,
top.
Run through. Yeah, but
right,
10,
8 is top. 10, bro. That's an
kind of pushing
album, bro. Bro, that's an album. But no, like. I thought it was dope though. I thought it was.
We like boom bap though, so of course. But I think certain outsiders that it may not be their style. Because even when Maurice was on, we were talking about the West Side Gun. Like he said, like that wasn't his like main go to. If that's not your main go to, I can see like there may be a bit of a disconnect for you.
I think it was dope. It was solid.
This was dope though.
Yeah, out of 10, I would definitely give it an 8, 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
can
was
build on something like
solid.
this. Build on a
Yeah,
10 song
yeah.
EP. You can build on a 10 song. He's really
Bro,
giving him
that's an
the. He's really
album,
giving him the
bro.
step in line.
Like Drake, what he called What's Called My Playlist. Bro, that's an album,
Oh,
bro.
More Alive was 22
Yeah.
songs.
Bro, that's an album, bro. You should have put playlists on there.
Yeah.
More
Yeah,
like playlist.
definitely. More like
Nah, but yeah.
playlist. And now getting to our next review with Roddy Ricch's Feed the Streets 3. In his new project, Roddy shows signs of him kind of being in the pocket that we're used to seeing him in. And kind of the majority of that this album features up-tempo beats with emotional elements. Over the beats, he tries to glide over them and switch between kind of cold-hearted and dramatic feels. But how do you think he performed on this album? And do you think the melodies he hooked up with were on point? Because I remember last year, the album we reviewed, we weren't really fans of it. But how do you kind of feel as though he did on this project?
Same thing for me. Same thing for me. Because when he dropped it was an album before. I think it was Feed the Streets 2.
Yes.
Or something like that. Like I listened to Roddy Ricch that whole year. Like before his album came out, I used to listen to Big Stepper. And I was like, oh, this is Roddy Ricch. Because obviously you got Ballin' and a couple other tracks that he had with DJ Mustard or just Mustard and Ketchup. But I think that time of like music, his style or his just like flow of music is outdated now because we hear it all the time. Now it's like
it was so special back then. It was so special.
Yeah. Now we're looking for the intricate details of that same style, but just a different way you say things. Because he says things different, and then he goes back into his regular voice. Like he was so. I think he was so. His music was listenable because of the certain things he did while he was like rapping or singing, whatever you want to call it. And it was kind of different and it sounded good with the auto tunes. Now we're used to it. You have to give us something different.
It sounds like the same thing.
It sounds like the same thing. Like only I think not even a plethora. It's a small class of artists that get away with things they done in the beginning. But they gave us something different in the middle of the career. So Future is one who could get away with whatever he wants. Solidified. Drake solidified. Kendrick solidified. J. Cole solidified. Who else? Who else is like a melodic guy? Little Baby solidified. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
They got the backstage pass to do whatever they want.
Right. You can Little Baby sounds exactly the same, but it's just either he switches up his production. I will say this: Little Baby beats don't be sounding the same. Gunna's beat sound the same. Young Thug's beat sounds the same, but Little Baby's production does not sound the same to me, and it makes it different because he raps the same. His cadence is still the same. How they tweak his vocals is still the same. But with Roddy Ricch, it's like. Yeah, it sounds the same, bro. And then your lyrics, you're not talking about nothing. So yeah, this wasn't it for me.
Similar content that and that's the thing. Like if those artists you mentioned, they have the leeway to be able to kind of just explore and do different things. But with Roddy, you got to know how to reinvent yourself. And I feel like that's the point he's at in his career where he's kind of hit a wall, and now it's just about like how can you kind of get back. Not even get back to the core sound because we know what your core sound is, but how can you show us something different? I think like that's what he really has to work on. Getting to our next review with Armani Caesar's the Liz 2 album. In this new project, it contains a lot of solid beats, and the West Side Gun production was really evident as Armani Caesar sounded more confident in her delivery and the writing was more refined. What were your initial thoughts on this album? And kind of like, I mean, I feel as though this is the type of artist that does have a bit to go before she fully develops into her sound, but there were some signs of improvement throughout. But to you, what were your initial thoughts on this album and kind of like the overall production of it and what you kind of felt about her delivery?
Yo, this was refreshing, to be honest with you. There's not many female rappers who rap like her and have the conscious mind to go into authentic hip hop. And I thought she was going to be a singer at first. And then when I heard the Paula Dean with West Side Gun, I was like, okay, West Side Gun gonna be with the R&B. Okay, let's go West Side. And then I heard her voice. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
and she got bars. So
for sure.
initially, when I when I looked at the cover art, I was like, okay, this should be interesting. Got a lady with a third eye on her. Okay, the old Cyclops, huh? Uh, old third eye, old what Doctor Strange eye. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's an
it's no
interesting
weird.
cover art.
But no, yo, this was once again kudos to Wellington for finding the. Yeah, I didn't haven't even heard of Armani Caesar, to be honest with you. What a dope name, by the way.
That's a fire name. That is a fire name.
Yeah, it is Armani Caesar. That's dope. And now I understand. Well, now I understand when you said she has a long way to kind of find her own style, like her own style, or her own voice, her own
Mhm.
style of music. Yeah, because you can tell she has some inspirations from other rappers,
Right.
and you can tell by her cadence. You can tell what she writes about. But I love that she's in the right direction. I think her
Mhm.
voice is made for authentic hip hop. I think she probably could do like the Megan Thee Stallion and all that
If she wanted
other
to.
type of rap
Yeah.
if she wanted to, but she made and that's why I like her even more, that she made a conscious decision. You know what? I'm not gonna be a typical just female rapper. I'm gonna really rap about something. I'm not gonna rap about shaking my butt and all that stuff, which is fine. But if you really want to get in the hip hop game and you really want to last long, you got to have some type of edification to your music. And I think obviously she talks about certain things, but I think she's in the right she's going in the right direction for her career. And to her feature list, yo, her feature list
Bro.
is fire.
Yes.
Kodak, West Side Gun. She had Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, like bro, all was besides Kodak, all of them authentically hip hop to me, especially West
Mhm.
Side Gun,
Oh yeah.
Benny the Butcher. Those West Side Gun be flowing, yo. He
His flow is
bug out and
super
all,
underrated.
dude. Yeah, he's crazy, bro. Like I saw he was at a bank or something, and he had a video, and he was
Mhm.
rapping. I was like, who is this? Oh, that's West Side Gun. Like
Yeah.
his vernacular, his cadence, like his voice, his undertone, like it's crazy. Now when I listen to music, now have we started, reviewing music? I look more into the music now. Like, okay, what's your undertone sound like?
Yeah.
What's your how much space do you have between words, or how are you using the beat to bring out the like? I'm just looking at more of those things now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this was very solid. She's in a great direction,
Oh yeah.
and
It's a great
kudos
start.
for yeah. Her voice, I like her voice. I think that's I hope I don't get in trouble with this for our, 30 listeners. But
Shout out to you, 30
when
listeners.
it when it comes to the female rappers,
We
man,
mentioned that
the
a lot. We mentioned that a
voices,
lot. Yeah, the female
the
MCs. Yeah.
the voices, man. Like I don't like Nicki Minaj's voice anymore. I never really liked Cardi B's voice. I've never been a fan of Cardi B. Um, but I think her
We've
voice,
reviewed Lotto before. Do you like Lotto at all?
Lotto, not really, not really. It's a
Mhm.
girl named London. She doesn't really put music out. She just do freestyles. Her voice is amazing. Like she got bars and she's lyrical. I think her name is like Lady London or something. She's a light skinned girl, light skinned woman. Sorry, uh, but her voice is like it's crazy. Like and she has bars. Like the voice, it goes for male rappers too. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have the
Same.
voice and the cadence and the undertone, the pitch, all those things, it doesn't work out.
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
now that's yeah. But yeah, she's This is nice.
Great start.
This is nice.
Great
Yeah,
start
yeah.
and
Great
direction.
start to your yeah.
Definitely. And now getting to our next review with Samaria's EP, Didn't Start With You. In this project, she kind of finds herself grappling with a breakup, and this feels more emotive and vulnerable. The EP really flows smoothly as listeners are taken on kind of a bumpy journey through a love gone wrong. But what did you think about this project and some of the messages she was trying to get across in it?
Yeah, this was a dope EP, man. I definitely got her message. Like I think we talked about that probably 2 episodes ago or 1 episode. Yeah, 2 episodes ago because I wasn't last week. I think it was one artist. Like I really didn't hear her. It was a single. Okay, it was what's called. I didn't really hear what she was trying to convey.
Right.
But this one, because it was a longer, and I think that song plays in a role to her, the EP that we're waiting for. I forgot her name.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. She had the Without You song.
Sicily?
Cecily, yeah, Cecily.
Cecily, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Her song, like, because it kind of changed. But anywho, but for this EP, I feel like because she had a longer, she had more songs to kind of fit her story into it, and it resonated well. I like her voice.
Mhm.
I think her writing abilities could be improved.
Yeah.
I'm just nitpicking at this
Little
point, but
generic. Yeah.
yeah, I felt if she dives into more of, yeah, just, I don't know if she's into poetry, but if you're trying to convey a love story, you can't be on the surface. And I think it was, like you said, it was a bit generic, but I still like the EP. I
Yeah.
thought it was real though. I think she's real smooth, and I think her, yeah, that's the only thing I take from her writing ability could be more in depth.
Mhm.
Like if you're gonna use an EP to write a whole essay or a love story, go deep, go in depth, go
Right.
in, like, use the, different wording, a different,
Mhm.
whatever. So, like, who did, yeah, Brent Faiyaz's last album,
Yeah.
perfect love
Wasteland.
story,
Yeah.
crazy, but it was a
Yeah. The
perfect love story.
interludes, the skits.
Yes, the whole thing. Like if you're gonna paint, and his yeah, he wasn't on the surface. He's in depth.
Nah,
He's
he went deep.
using
Yeah.
interludes. He's using different perspectives.
Mhm.
Like if you're gonna do it, if you want to do a love story, you gotta go in depth. You have to. You can't be on the surface. But I think it was. I thought it was a decent EP.
Yeah, absolutely. And now getting to our last review with Travis Scott and Pharrell's down in Atlanta. In this new single, it's not the trap style beat kind of we're used to hearing from Scott spit over, but it has a fitting backdrop for this song's themes of luxurious big city living. What did you think about this track and kind of some of the elements in it?
It's definitely a Pharrell beat when you hear that dum dum dum.
Yes,
That's his signature, bro.
vintage, yeah, vintage Pharrell beat.
Yeah, it was different. It was different hearing Travis Scott on this, and I think Pharrell had to challenge him to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
man. I kind of
because
like
if you,
hearing Travis in a different element, different lane.
yeah, instead of yeah, all that, like, bro, like, yeah. But no, I thought it was interesting. I'm indifferent by it. I think it was definitely something that he should have done, because it's for real, first and
You
foremost, and
got to
then two,
do it.
he's gonna get you out your comfort zone, and I think this was exactly what that was. Get him out of his comfort zone. I don't think it was a terrible song, but I'm not a true Travis Scott fan, so I'm not. That's why I say I'm indifferent. I thought it was
Yeah,
dope. I thought it got him out of the comfort zone. Obviously, both producer and both Pharrell and Travis Scott had their DNA
in
within the
it.
song and with the
Yeah,
production. But I
right.
thought I thought it was a good collaboration. Better than I know I'm gonna say better than Division and
Oh, better
better
division
than
dollar sign.
Division.
That's always that's always the two names you're going to mention when you talk about collabs. Division and Ty
That
Dolla Sign, because
was such a
I'm pretty sure
terrible
Savon thinks
collab.
that's the worst collab album of all time.
Yes, bro. Terrible.
Oh
Who did this? Why did they do
man,
this? Probably
you
sold
didn't even like
nothing.
Division's last album, so I mean I think you're just out on Division, man.
No. No. I think they're going mainstream. I mean, they went mainstream. They're
Yeah,
already
they're
mainstream. They're
already there.
already doing, like, their first EP or album, whatever you want
So
to
far
call it,
gone.
bro. That was. Anywho,
Yeah. When the numbers go up, and they're like,
they gotta.
gotta go mainstream. Like Summer Walker. But that's the thing. She flipped it. She went back.
Yes.
She went back to her core, and I
Yes.
still listen to that album. That album's
Yes.
incredible.
Oh, what an album!
Man.
What a story! What a story! The first song off the bat, bro. What? Okay, is she pregnant again? So that's that. Knocking boots. That's what she doing, Wellington.
Yo,
Knocking
SZA.
boots.
One last thing. SZA said the album's coming out in December.
I saw that. And I think it's a hoax because she said it in an interview, but I still don't believe her.
I'm just saying. We got one
You
more
think,
month. We got one more month out of the year for hope.
bro? If she drops it, she gonna shut the. She is yo, yeah. I might stop what I'm doing and
Bro,
listen to that.
it's gonna shut.
That's
It's gonna shut everything down.
Cause Shirt is still on repeat. Bro, it's such a good song.
So good.
Oh my gosh. But
Artists, if
yeah,
you ever want to know a right single to put out, just listen to Shirt, and there it is.
yes, bro.
That's the image. That's the epitome right there.
Cecily is another one who
And
puts out
Cecily. Yes.
great singles.
Cannot wait for
I
EP.
can't wait for an EP, yeah. Now I'm waiting for the
I've never been excited for an EP more than I have for Cecily. Right. You can just tell something's there. Something's brewing.
Cause yeah, she picks the perfect ones. And you know they go with something else, but they're still like solidified single songs.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Definitely. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back with our review of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting to our review of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. And to start with the overview, this is a 2019 drama film directed and produced by Joe Talbot in his directorial debut. He wrote the screenplay with Rob Richard and the story with Jimmie Fails, on whose life it is partly based. It stars Fails, Jonathan Majors, Tichina Arnold, Rob Morgan, Mike Epps, Finn Wittrick, and Danny Glover. It was distributed by A24. It had a budget of $2 million and brought in $4.6 million into the box office, plus has a 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But to start off with this review, like, what were your initial thoughts on a film that, you know, wasn't affecting a story powerfully told and established director Joe Talbot as a filmmaker to really watch more?
Yo, and I'm gonna start with how it was shot. I love the hero shots they had, the up panning shots of the scenery. Yeah. It's so easy to get captivated in San Francisco. The landscapes, the down slopes of the city. You get lost in it, and I love the way that he utilized different angles and shots to tell the story within the story. A lot of directors do it, but they don't do it as well. And for them to win 2, I think Sundance Best Director, and I think something else they won, and then be 92%. It was high rating. A high rating. 50% of that is how it was shot. And I gotta believe that, because when I looked at the preview before I watched the movie, I was like, oh, who is his director? I'm like, it's like with the bushes like pan up and out. Like, and then the hero shots to give them, you know, it's just like those shots mean something, and they give more to character. And I love how it was shot, and that would entice me. And I was like, okay, because I never heard of this film, which is crazy because it has a lot. Danny Glover, it's a lot of good actors in this film. And when I looked at it on looked at it on Google, well, not Google, and I was like, okay, I kept saying, oh, which that means like I'm so interested. I was like, oh, that was a nice shot. Like, okay, you know, and then that's when I just.
This was a film for you. This was a film for you because you love how film is shot.
First 5 minutes, bro, I was glued. I was glued. First 5. I see why I won these awards. What a film! Beautiful story, friendship, like that. I love the connection with the city and the friendship and how it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful film. And the actors in it was really well. I love Danny Glover's VOs. You know, him and Morgan Freeman have their voices very distinguished. So you know who they are.
You know. Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, like with this cast, like, I mean, that's one of, obviously, along with how the film is shot, that's another impressive thing about this movie. Like was the just looking at the description of the movie, like was the cast another thing that just kind of like popped out to you and really stood out in terms of the potential this film could have?
Yeah, you know, looking at when I looked at the preview, I heard Danny Glover's voice. I was like, okay, Danny Glover's in here. Either he's doing the VO or like the narrating, or he's going to be in the film. So he was both. I was like, okay, Danny Glover's in it. And then I looked, I was like, oh, Jonathan Majors is in this. Yes. And then you see Mike Epps, you see Tichina Arnold. And I'm like, oh, okay. He went to get the big guns.
Yeah.
So, because you need the type of black actors to bring out a black narrative. And I think they chose, even with the Jimmie Fails guy, I think everybody played their Jimmie and Jonathan played incredible roles, especially when they're in the house. It was just the excitement. Like you could tell, like you can relate to their friendship first and foremost, and you can relate to how they're feeling, and then life happens. it's just like
Boom.
I just yeah,
It's that
feel like
quick.
oh, it's not as like hunky gory as I thought it was gonna be. So
Yeah.
nah, this the actors really brung it out more. But I think nah, they had every actor was I think was precise, especially the Jonathan Majors, even Danny Glover. I think it was him. It was either him or Morgan Freeman, but they probably couldn't afford Morgan Freeman, so they got Danny Glover. But nah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think the cast was perfect.
Oh yeah, for sure. And now getting into our first topic from 1 to 4 stars, what would you give it? I mean, I would give this film 4 because this was an
Yeah.
independent film with a difference, and it's just beautifully directed and perfectly played. This really feels like a window into the human experience from some truly enlightening perspectives. But to you, from your perspective, from 1 to 4 stars, what would you give it?
I'll give it 4. The storyline, I think the narrative that it had in between, and then just the how it was shot, how it was directed. What a beautiful, like even the the skateboard down the road, beautiful
Yes.
shot. The turning shot where he was on Jimmie Fails was on the floor and he was just like his hand, it was just turning that adds a different element to it.
Mm,
Or them just standing on the porch. It's just like those different shots that looks like, okay, that's just a movie. No, they're shot that way for a reason to
yeah.
bring a different effect to it, to make you feel it. Even the pin out shots with the drone, bro. Yeah, man. This is beautifully shot. Beautifully
Absolutely.
shot.
And now getting into favorite character, Jimmy's one was really fascinating because he's really exploring
Mhm.
the ideas of legacy, masculinity, and
Yeah.
gentrification as one of the main subjects in the film. And all of these are linked to the people in his life. To you, who was kind of your overall favorite character in this one?
I think it has to be. I don't see. I don't want to. It's Jimmy.
Right.
I'm gonna say Montgomery, just like that friendship element, man. Just being there, going through life with somebody that you can trust, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Mhm.
And I think you won't want a better friend than the Montgomery to be on your side, and just to go. Who else is going to catch leaves with a bag that's not even open properly? Those dumb moments, man. So, but yeah, I think outside of Jimmy, I think obviously Montgomery was a good character because you
Mhm.
can relate to those. You can relate to both of them. I think that's what makes them. And then you didn't have to have as much character development between the two because the script really did a great job of
Oh yeah,
just bringing them out already. So the actors, I don't think the actors really had to do much, to be honest with you. The script was that good, I
it was
bet.
laid out perfectly for them.
Yeah.
And looking at what Jonathan Majors has been doing in his career, obviously, like he's got a
Mm.
busy next year. Obviously, he just had a film Devotion come out. He's got Quantum Mania next year, then Creed 3. Like, what are your thoughts on how his career has played out and what he has going forward? Because he's been in a lot, but he also has just so much,
Yeah.
laid out for him for the next following years.
Man, what he came on the scene fast and with a flurry, man, to be able
Yeah.
to do every film in the genre. You got the superhero, you got the Black Wild Wild West, you got
Mhm.
uh he got some other films. And you got Creed coming out. Like he's going through the spectrum of the genres, and I think that's really good for his career to show
Yeah.
his talents. And obviously, people are going to say, "Oh, he hasn't played in a family film just yet." Yeah, just give him time. His
Give it
career is
time.
still
Give it
young. Yeah,
time.
I think he'll be there. But what a career! He's a great actor. Is the
Yes.
he's played in a movie. He was a pilot about a true story. Just those
Mhm.
different elements of the roles that he has to show his true talent, and
Yeah.
his emotions. I think is his strong suit. His facial
You
expressions, how
believe
he
what he's
brings
putting
it
out.
out.
Yeah, you really
Yeah,
believe it. Yeah,
especially
definitely.
like just because he has a distinguished face. And it's just like how Denzel has his, and
Yeah.
there's a couple other actors who have like signature moves, what they do with their face or how they talk. You
Jonathan Majors
know,
has that. He
yeah,
has
he
that.
has that. Robert De Niro has the face. Yeah, so Jonathan Major he has a signature acting style that
Mhm.
that is a good formula for any movie that he plays in, and it's we've seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And now getting to most memorable scenes, I had Keep Building It. This is our home. Morning Kofi. You don't get
Mhm.
to hate it unless you love it. Skating the Bay Area, and then finally, my grandmother built this. To you, like, what were the memorable scenes in this one, and maybe some of the standouts for you?
Every last one of them, obviously, Wellington picks the best. Okay, here we go.
We know.
But no, the one when they, the one with, I think the one I thought when they first got into the house and they ran up and they were just running through the house or whatever. And then they were just talking about, oh, we could throw parties, we do all this stuff. I just like we could scream, like you're just doing all this stuff. And I think those are the joyous moments where you realize, and you just the world just floats away. There's no outside, there's nothing just in that moment. And I think that was the beauty of it, that they were able to live in the moment as their characters. And then the moment ended and you get hit with the realistic
Man,
things of life, which is really crazy.
that contrast of the
Yeah.
reality hitting you so hard is why this film is so realistic. I mean, like that, and that's how life is.
Yeah. Especially in California, man. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. And now getting into most memorable quotes, I had Jimmy, isn't that the car you used to live in from Montgomery? Also, you can't hate it until you love it. Let us give each other the courage to see beyond the swords we were born into. This is our home from Preacher. Also, people like me, I'm liked from Bobby. And then finally, well, also the great news is that you are all doing marvelous work from Montgomery. And then finally, I'm the last one left from Jimmy. To you, like, what were the standout quotes, and maybe some of the ones that you kind of felt carry like the most weight throughout this movie?
Both of the ones you said about Jimmy, those are what I'm going to say. Let us give each other the courage to see beyond. And then Jimmy, ain't that the car you used to live in? And both of those moments were so heavy, especially the one that said, Jimmy, ain't that the car you lived in? Because I think in that moment, what your mind goes through, like where you came from, what life was, and now you're in a blissful moment, and then life takes you back into the, it
Yeah,
drags you back. So that continuous cycle of growing and learning, because you can't grow being comfortable. And I think within this film, both went through tragic circumstance to get them to the point they were, and then now you have to go through something else to grow into another form of who you are.
yeah.
So, yeah, man, those two quotes really stood out the most to me for sure.
Definitely. And a character that we haven't mentioned as much. I mean, in accurate, I haven't mentioned as much in this film. The role Mike Epps had, because it wasn't maybe as much, but he had like certain moments in it. Like, how did you feel about what he did in the movie? Like, he wasn't obviously like a substantial character, but he had certain points in it where you could kind of feel like he just had that Mike Epps effect, and it still was able to work in the movie.
Yeah, he obviously you're gonna bring the funny, but I think he was the realistic one, or just the
Yeah,
he was the one to bring him back to earth. Because I think one of the quotes he said, "You see, Jimmy, you never really own crap." So he like
yeah. Bring you down.
bring you back to reality and how things are really are, like the gentrification, which was a big one in his film. And I think his character was definitely needed, because obviously he's gonna be funny. But I think once you're in that blissful in the moments and you plan on doing all these things, and then life saying, no, 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 you're not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna take you this way. And you
Yeah,
have to be realistic with yourself in those moments. I think that's what Bobby was. He was the realistic factor in the script and in the movie to make them understand, like, yo, you see, you never really own crap. Like, it's just not in a negative way, but just like, hey, remind yourself
yeah.
what you
A
look like,
reminder.
where you come from. Yeah, just
Yeah.
a fierce punch in the face reminder.
Even in the bank scene Jimmy had at the end, where he was like, "You know, look, I know I'm black, this and that, like, but still give me a chance." And it was like, it just
Right.
doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
No.
it's just one of those acknowledgments of, even though you want something, you still have to go through a certain process.
Yeah. And that was such a sad scene.
Yeah,
But it's the norm. You know, it's the norm. You got to be near perfect if you're a black male. You got to be near perfect, or
yeah.
yeah, I could go a whole thing with that, man.
That's another
Yeah, I've
episode
been
in and
through
of
that.
itself. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough.
no, I've
It's tough.
been through that. Feel like, just show you, because yeah, I'm not gonna go through that. I'm not gonna talk about that. But anywho, but yeah, I get that, and I
That
get the
was, to me,
point.
that was the most relatable scenes of the entire movie. That was like,
Yeah,
felt
like,
like, yeah, yeah,
do I got to be perfect to get this job? And I know, yeah, yeah.
definitely. And now getting to kind of like what did you like the most about the storyline? To me, just how there was a sense of urgency and realism throughout the film, and it's not done in a conventional sense or even linear, but you really have to piece it together and to glean out its messages. To you, like what particular element of this storyline did you like the most?
Yeah, it wasn't a regular storyline like what you say. You had to piece everything together. I think that keeps the viewer engaged, as well as just the character, the development that was already there in the script, and that I think you were related to them the first 5 minutes of the film. Like it was relatable as soon as the film turned on. Like we know about gentrification. We know about keeping what we had in the family in the family. We know about certain things that goes in and out of trying to get a job. So it's like I'm already glued because it's realistic, it's relatable, and the characters, you don't really have to do too much to have viewers connect with that because we already know. So I love that part, but the biggest thing I loved about this film, and I keep saying this, how it was shot,
That
beautiful.
and that's what I want to talk about more. The director Joe Talbot, what he did, like with how he shot this film. What more do you want to see from him going forward, and kind of like what he can do to just continue to diversify his catalog and skill set?
I don't know if he has or not, but I want to see him do a action film.
Okay.
And I say that because I'm pretty sure he does a lot of documentaries and films like this to bring out because he's from San Francisco, so that's beautiful.
Yes, perfect for him.
But yeah, I want to see him do an action film because how he shoots things is so interesting, so beautiful in itself. I want to see that in action sequence. Can you are you just with this genre or can you stretch out and do another genre?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
That's what we always like to see. It's what we always like to see with directors. Yeah.
Because we know you can do. Yeah, it was. Yeah, man, it was shot. I want him to see do a action film. Then I want him to do a family film to see if his style of shooting can
it carry into that genre?
Yeah, carry into those genres.
That's fast. That would be fascinating to see.
Yeah, I think that would be dope for him. Yeah, but awesome director for this film.
Yes,
amazing,
definitely
amazing.
And getting to our last topic, 10 years from now, do you still think it'll be watchable and intriguing? Obviously, this is a more recent film, 2019. I definitely think it can stand the test of time. Obviously, with how well it was shot for movie people that really appreciate the genre, they can just enjoy it. And obviously, the realism and the urgency of what the message is something we always talk about with films like this, and it goes on to do that so well. But 10 years from now, how do you feel this will age and it still being watchable and intriguing?
I think it will be like Fruitvale Station and all those other films that depict black cinema or just black stories. I think this is a strong film. It's definitely up there, and I think it should have that respect as well. Yeah. Doesn't matter who directed it or whatever. I think this film should have that respect as Fruitvale Station, as the film with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. That was a good film. I forgot his name. When he was
Just
a lawyer
Mercy.
trying to get. Yeah, Just Mercy was a good film. There's a lot of films in that tenure or in that genre. I think is really well. I think this has to be respected as much as yeah. But I definitely think this is watchable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Winter Burns. I'm my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.